Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm guessing that many of you have been on a lovely break during Eid, and you've made it here, so I'm very glad that you're joining us. We appreciate it, and I'm excited that the sessions are back in person. That's good. I'm excited also about today's topic. We're going to be talking about existing challenges and innovation in digital health, and I'm really excited to have with me Noor Jandali. I wanted to introduce you in details, but then I thought that maybe you're going to be much better at that. So if you could tell us a bit about yourself and also about Druby, what it is that you do at Druby.
Hi, everyone. Oh, it's quite loud. My name is Noor. I'm one of the co-founders at Druby. We're a digital care provider, meaning we provide virtual care programs for people with a chronic condition. We offer programs for people with diabetes, hypertension, obesity, overall weight loss or wellness, and we're also expanding to other programs as well. And essentially what we do is we combine online health coaching from our in-house team of coaches, educational material, tracking tools. We developed a smart behavior change messaging system to help users develop healthier habits, incorporates behavior change science. And we provide each member with a personalized plan, and that will allow them to become healthier essentially. And we're really proud of the results we've seen. Our programs are undergoing clinical trials. We actually just finished a clinical trial with Hamad Hospital, which is the largest or the main healthcare provider here in Qatar for people with type 2 diabetes, and we saw a lot of positive results there, and that ended this year. And to date, we've enrolled over 30,000 members, and we work with a variety of, our main partnerships are with healthcare providers here, so think PHCC, Hamad Hospital, but also we work with employers such as Qatar Foundation, Uridu, Qatar Development Bank, to offer employees a health program that's scalable. So, and my role at Druby, I joined actually in 2018. I was a fresh graduate, and there was a founding team, and we were still like in the early stages of building the idea up, and I started working on the content side, so working on developing an Arabic curriculum for patients with type 2 diabetes to educate themselves about self-management, and we collaborated with doctors from Hamad Hospital, and so I started on the educational side, but then my role evolved to become more of the behavior science expert, if you will, to guide, to provide informed interventions for people to help change their behavior from the application side. So I now manage most of the content side of the application, but as the business as a whole, so marketing materials, sales, and yeah.
Thank you, Noor. That's exciting, and I'm looking forward to break down all the elements of that exciting startup that Druby is, and hopefully we can learn a lot from you, how you're designing your services, how you're engaging your users, and how you're innovating in digital healthcare. I want to talk to you about the latest trends in healthcare and what it is that you see happening right now. Well, we are in a post-pandemic world, and it changed a lot, right? I mean, we had these little devices for a while now, and we've been, I think we thought of ourselves as tech-savvy users, but the number of, I found some interesting statistics that the healthcare consultations that were carried out remotely post-pandemic shot from 0.1% to 43.5%. So it's huge. It's almost 500 times higher. Do you see that? Do you see that trend? Are you leveraging this? And are there any other exciting things happening nowadays, post-pandemic, and maybe not necessarily related to COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll just rewind a few years back to just give some context about where digital health was in Qatar, because I think that might provide some context about where we're going. But I think before Corona, there definitely were a lot of virtual care platforms, whether it was telehealth, so like you can book your online consultations. Maybe there were a couple online pharmacies. Maybe you can do at-home lab testing. However, I think with the pandemic, it really did force us to kind of leverage these technologies to help our healthcare professionals, because clearly, they were overwhelmed, and we did see a big drive in consultations. So I think with Corona, it was a great opportunity to kind of really re-examine and look at healthcare and see okay, where is this going and what do we want to achieve? I think we want to give the best possible care to patients. And I think that includes, and now we have something new now that's called virtual first care, which means that at any point in time, a patient can access care from their digital device, and they can choose what kind of service they need based on their clinical needs and preferences, and in a reliable and secure way. And essentially, it's a hybrid model of in-person visits, but also digital services. So you can probably, what you might find in virtual first platforms are, you can text message and chat with a doctor, but also you can set up live consultations and also do in-person visits. So it's not like a virtual only model, it's a hybrid. And so what we found was, for example, with Druby, a lot of our patients, what we've seen is they might need so like I mentioned before, we focus on online health coaching. That's our bread and butter. We provide that lifestyle support for people in between their doctor visits. And what we found was, if you have a chronic condition, they might need to see a doctor to supplement something. So for example, maybe they need a medication change. Maybe they're not reacting to their high blood pressure medication in the proper way. So what we used to do is we used to refer them to reroute to their primary care provider. And that seemed for us a little disassembled. We wanted to really streamline the whole service. So what we did was we started adding physicians to our platform. So so if a health coach finds that a patient needs to see a doctor, we don't need to reroute them to go to their doctor who doesn't know about this Druby service. Instead, what we do is we say, okay, well, we have a physician on board. Would you like to set up a call? And then we book and we set up that appointment there and then with the patient. So what we're seeing is more we want patients want streamlined. They want one tool for everything. If they do their blood test, they want to see the results on the application. They don't want to have to log into a separate website and do it. So that's the trend we're working towards. And one of the first steps we're doing is we're adding physicians to our platform. Through partnerships, we're going to start with partnerships with private clinics, because we also like having that in-person option. So a lot of patients might prefer to come see a doctor in person. But we also have them available to do virtual consultations. So we see it going in the sense of becoming an integrated solution.
What is the demographic of your users?
That's a good question. I would say on average, our user is around 40 years old. More females using the application. They're around 40. We have a mix of between Qatari and non-Qatari. But I would say that we have a lot of Qataris on our platform.
And it's mainly diabetic people, right? People with diabetes, or it's also
Yeah, we have a mix.
broader?
So, and I just want to mention this, if you have diabetes, you're probably 70% likely to also have high blood pressure. So these conditions don't occur in silos. You need to have an integrated platform and an integrated surface for someone who has these conditions. And someone who has high blood pressure also probably has high cholesterol. So you need to have one app that has all the support there. To answer your question, I think, I'm sorry,
Curious about the demographic and whether we can all benefit from that, or you need to have a very specific condition to start using.
No, you
the
don't.
app.
They overlap, but we cover weight loss and obesity, and we find everyone has a different goal, whether they want to reduce their belly fat or they want to move more, they want to eat healthier. So we provide coaching support for all these kinds of needs.
One of the current trends in digital healthcare is wearables. I mean, it's been here for a while, but I see it's growing, and we have many more very specific solutions to measure to get detailed measurements. Is there anything that Druby is looking into, or anything you're excited about that might be leveraged in your industry?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we focus on diabetes a lot. Like we started, our first program was for people with diabetes. And if anyone knows, you probably know someone who, in your life, in your family, who has diabetes. And the main way they've been measuring their blood sugars through the traditional blood glucose monitor. You prick your finger, you put it into the device, it reads the blood sugar. But I think what we're seeing now is like the rise of continuous glucose monitors, which is the sensor you attach to your skin. It's like a patch, and then you leave it on for however long, and it monitors your glucose continuously. So you could see your readings from while you're sleeping. You just see the full. It gives you so much data. However, the one thing about those monitors is that they're quite expensive. So, but we're starting to see more affordable options coming up. But I really think that will, I would say, it's hard to say really, but maybe more than 50% of patients with diabetes use a traditional monitor. Like you prick your finger, you analyze your blood sugar there and then. But I would say that I'd love to see around 90% of people using a continuous glucose monitor. But that means we need to make them more affordable. That's like the dream, because then you get so much data. And you're actually able to generate predictive insights based off of it.
Talking about data, I wanted to touch upon the quantified self movement. It started years ago as I believe by a couple of journalists from Wired, and it was pretty much a mechanism, an attempt to attain self-knowledge through self-tracking with technology, but it evolved very quickly into something, into an opportunity to gamify certain activities and to encourage certain behaviors. And I'm wondering if Druby is also using that to teach people basically to take better care of themselves.
Yeah, so we started with behavior change science, which is kind of this growing field of how do you get people to change their behavior? Because weight loss, for example, is very simple in ideology, right? Like calories in versus calories out, move more, eat less. However, it's not the most simple thing to do. It's simple formula, but it's not easy to do. So how do you, what does the science say about how do you get someone from point A to point B? So what we did was we went through a lot of research at the beginning to identify what are the best interventions based on science for people to change their behavior. And we incorporate that also into our messaging. But I'll just give an example. So we help people set up goals, and we help people commit to that goal. If you commit to that goal, you're more likely to actually achieve that goal. We recommend them to share their goals with other people as a form of social accountability. And then when it comes to the quantifiable piece of it, we do have so for example, we do like to leverage that data to encourage people to perform better or build these habits. So for example, if someone is walking a certain number of steps, we do let them know, oh, you're in this X percentile of, from your whole group of users like you. So it kind of gives them the social norm aspect. Which I think is similar to what Fitbit does as well. You also, you climbed the Eiffel Tower today, you took as many steps as you walked around the Louvre or whatever. So we do incorporate certain gamification tactics, but we try also not to overwhelm the user too much. As soon as you do it too much, they'll stop engaging with you. So we do it scientifically as well. So we try to make sure that everything we do is based off of science and not just something what we feel is right, if that makes sense.
Thank you. There is a concern that comes up quite often when it comes to digital solutions, and especially solutions that are related to health. It's trust, and also whether how much can we replace with a digital solution, and how much still has to be done in person with a human coach? And where is this boundary? What do you think? What can we automate, and what can we do remotely, and what has to be done in person?
So I think it depends. I think that's the best answer, because I think certain conditions require a mix of both. But so let's say, like, I'll give you an example. Like, we can automate, the blood sugar reading feedback, like, because there's a clear range of you're in range, you're out of range. Automating that kind of feedback is easy. Things with like discrete boundaries. But I think what we can't lose is, at the end of the day, like, healthcare is human care. People want to speak to someone. People want to be understood. People have different personalities. And I think that part of healthcare can't leave, because what might motivate me might not motivate you. Some people respond to positive affirmation. Some people respond better to negative affirmation. So I think understanding people's personalities is something that is integral to healthcare. And that can't really be automated or supplemented with artificial intelligence. However, analyzing the data of the patient and making predictions on what they might be at risk for, so estimating the risk of having a stroke, or developing type 2 diabetes, or having gestational diabetes. I think these are things, like, based on data we can use to better make predictions. But I think at the end of the day, it's also good to have a doctor there to not only understand the patient, I think especially when it comes to lifestyle. And I think that's where the coaching comes in. The health coach plays a different role than the doctor. The doctor, you see them like intermittently, but with the health coach, they're always for support about how do you deal with a setback today. Like, I woke up late and I missed my breakfast, and now I might eat something unhealthy. So I think, again, it comes down, when it comes to human behavior and changing it, I think it will require human care, but definitely the data from the patient that they collect over time, I think that's really valuable for automation and making predictions.
That brings me to my next question. I'm wondering about personalization of services, whether you're using data not only to track if everything is everything is right, and to motivate, but are you also providing tailored solutions for each patient individually?
Yeah, definitely. I think personalization is like a core component of virtual care, because if you have the data on the patient, they need what works for them might not work for someone else. And so, for example, with Druby, part of the plan, like for someone with diabetes, I mentioned diabetes a lot, but it's like our main work. Somewhat like you will get a specific monitoring plan that's tailored to your type of diabetes, but also your other conditions that you may have, or complications you may have. So how frequent you should check your blood sugar levels, what range should they be in. Also, like when you talk about food, we do provide like a tailored food plan, which is pretty simple, like the number of calories you should be eating in a day if you'd like to lose weight, and as well as a step count goal. So most of the plan is it's predicated on the data of the user that they enter. So we provide them with personal plans according to what they want to achieve, but also where they're starting from.
I'd like to play now a game. Let's imagine we're in 2040. Let's go. At first I thought 2030, but it's...
How old will I be? I will be... That's not a nice question.
2040. So it's 2040, and how does digital healthcare look like? Are we going to a doctor in the metaverse? Are we having sensors all over our body and just we won't be keeping you accountable for the predictions you make here. But let's just dream a bit, and let's try to imagine where that technology is heading.
It's probably more streamlined. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you book a consultation, you see your doctor, but like when you book your consultation, all the data is pre-filled because the government has made an identification with you and pre-filled all your data from your health record, and you can identify yourself, and you can book a consultation. You're billed on the same platform. You can see the results. We will recommend to you which kind of doctor to see next. So that's how I see it. It's more streamlined, because I think where we're going is, I think people are tired of having so many different tools. It's like, your pharmacy is one thing, and then your private doctor is coming from another hospital, and then if you want a meal plan or like a healthy meal plan, that's also coming from a diet center. So I imagine something more streamlined, where it all kind of happens in one platform. And I think that's the new definition. Like, we call it V1C, virtual first care, meaning that it's an integrated, like, it's more nuanced than telehealth, which is you just book your consultation and then that's it. Whereas virtual care, it's like you book your consultation, but if you have a medication, that medication can be delivered to you. You can see, like I mentioned, lab results as well. Like, you can integrate multiple streams of data in one place. So that's where I see healthcare going. I would hope so.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping for a nice discussion after our sessions during the networking part of the event. So please do stay, and let's discuss more. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for coming.